Hello, welcome to another edition of the Journey Midweek Connection. I'm Matt Larson, and I recently got to spend some time in Israel, which is a pretty special thing to have happen. And like everyone who went, I wanted to hear from the Lord. Standing in the places where the events of the Bible occurred, I was trying extra hard to be sensitive to what the Holy Spirit might show me. And early on in the trip, I actually heard this word garden come to mind. And I tested it to see, is this coming from the Lord or what? And I really began to think that that was the case. And the word garden is actually a great metaphor for me. First of all, you know pastors love metaphors. I thought it was a great metaphor for me because growing up, my grandma had the most beautiful garden in her backyard. And it was the backdrop for all of our family meals and all of my extended family gatherings. And so her garden to me was one of the most beautiful, sacred places on the planet. It still just gets me when I think about it. And so I received that word garden, and it felt like everywhere we went, God was putting us in these beautiful gardens. And so I was getting all this confirmation. And so I thought, well, I'm going to get to work. I like this word. I want to come home and garden at the church and make the church as healthy and as beautiful as it can be. And I want to garden my family, and I want to garden in my home, metaphorically speaking, like pouring into my family and making my family as healthy as it can be. And so a couple of times I snuck away and I got out my notebook and I started thinking, okay, a big view of a garden. You need a plan. You need to worry about infrastructure. You got to figure out where things are going to go. And then I thought, what are the little things, the details of the garden that make them great, like watering and planting and weeding, all of those things. And I was really running with it. And again, as the trip went on, I just kept getting confirmations of that word garden. And then the second to last day, we visited a place called the Garden Tomb. It's a place where many evangelicals believe was the site where Jesus might have been buried. It's right next to the place of the skull. It's outside one of the gates of Jerusalem. And so it's a really, really neat place. But one of the things there is there's a tomb that's been discovered that you get to see what the tombs of Jesus's day would have looked like. It's a beautiful garden. And we had an amazing time together there. We read through the Passion of the Christ through the Gospels. We worshiped together. We had communion together. It was kind of the final wrap-up, big, high spiritual moment of the trip. It was very emotional, very, very beautiful and special. And when my part in that service was over, and the worship was just continuing, I got a chance just to kind of sit back and relax. And I looked out of this window from this little chapel that we were in, and I saw you couldn't have painted a better picture of a tree branch with green leaves. You could get a sense that there was a garden outside. And as I did the whole trip, anytime I was around a garden, I was kind of extra alert. And so I'm leaning back, we're having this spiritual high point, and I look out the window and I get a glimpse of the garden. And that's when I heard something really amazing. I heard God say to me, I am in the garden, and I want to spend time with you. And I just broke. I just started crying. It hit me very, very hard because when I heard the word garden, my mind got running on about all the things that I was going to go do. I was going to garden at the church, and I'm going to garden my family, and I still want to do those things. I still think those are applications. But what I didn't realize is that the whole thing was a setup for Jesus to invite me into a deeper level of relationship. Because I don't know about you, but in my busy life, sometimes the hardest thing for me to do is to make myself sit still and enjoy time with him. And so he was saying, I'm in the garden and I want to be with you. And that brought me back all the way to the book of Genesis, where before sin, in the old days, before the great divorce and before Jesus came to make it all right again, God used to walk with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day. And they were in close relationship. Jesus died so that we could have those garden moments again. And so I'm sharing kind of this profound moment, kind of vulnerable moment for me in my experience, because I think there's an invitation for you as well. I want to encourage you. In Matthew 11:28, it says, come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And so if you're tired, if you're harried, if you're stretched to the max, and you haven't been spending peaceful, intentional time with the Lord in the garden, one-on-one, he's inviting you, come to me all who are weary. And then I also wrote down part of Psalm 23 here. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. That whole idea that he makes us. He's in charge. He's the shepherd. And he makes us take a break by green pastures. It's such a beautiful illustration of what's available to us. It can be so hard to sit still and spend time with him. And it takes a lot of discipline sometimes to get that phone off of your lap in the morning when you wake up or before you're going to bed to spend time with him. But I encourage you to do that. And as a closing thought, this hit me today and it hit me hard. I don't want the big tragedy of my life to be what I missed out on by not making time with God in the garden a priority. I don't want to live a full and busy life and then look back and realize he was available to me in a very intimate, beautiful, personal way every day, and I just walked on by. So let's meet him in the garden. Hope you have a great day.